This is part 5 of the yz80 rebuild.
This is everything on in the video, I've edited it because when I'd done the carb and everything else I was drunk and I'm slurring on, but these bolts here I've changed. They were Allen keys, these are 30 mils and that one there was a screw. I've changed it to a bolt and that's 40 mil. The carb's on, but in the video it shows us taking it apart. I'm going to make a connector for that now. Spark plugs in, everything's ready. Got to put a new Jubilee clip on there because it's turning and it won't tighten up, it's moving, if you can see it there. Get the water pump on now. We'll put the gasket on. Normally there's a pin, when you put the gasket on and it'll keep the gasket still, but there's not one there. I'll just take these out. I think that's 60 mil, that bottom one, what the cut washer goes on. I'll just push that through the bottom like that. Now I'll get the one of the 25 mil bolts and push that through, so it's going through the gasket. Next we'll get that Jubilee clip down there. Just push it down a bit so everything's tightened up. That bolt there will just go straight through the gasket. I've just nipped the casing of that bolt and the water pump and that bolt. Now I'll go and show the carb. Cleaned it, but I'll take it apart. It's a bolt, it's all clean. The float pins are easy to pop out on these. When you lift the floats up, lift it up so the needle's still on it. So we'll take the main jet out. Then we'll take the emulsion tube out. That's it there, there's no washers in or nothing like that. Just when you clean it, make sure them holes, there's 3 on the other side, wait 2, make sure them holes are clear. I've already cleaned it out so now it's clean. So that's the emulsion pipe out. Now take the pilot jet out. If this is ever blocked, bike will start up on choke, and then as soon as you knock the choke off, your bike just cuts out. That's the pilot jet there. If I had a light behind it, you would be able to see a hole through it because I've cleaned it. Pilot jet's a 35. Put the pilot jet back in. Don't tighten it up too hard. Once these round off, you have to get them drilled out, they're hard to get out. Now I'll show this. There'll be a gasket underneath it, some sort of ring. That's the red gasket. That's all the petrol comes through there. That float pin fits in there like that. If it's weighed out or down, petrol's you can see it moving down. I'll move it down again. Petrol's going to be coming through there. We'll put that seat back in. We'll put the emulsion pipe back in. Then we'll put the main jet back in. And if you can see it there, the main jet's a 300. It's tight enough. So now get your float pin. That's the floats in, and that's all working now. I've just got a new gasket on the bowl. That's the idle screw. You see a rubber seal there. Make sure you got your rubber seal, and there'll be a spring. Put your spring on, just screws into there like that. Take this air screw out, see what's behind it. See, should be a spring and a seal. There's a seal. There's a spring, just like the other, like the idle screw. Once the bike's running, we'll set this for the air and fuel mixture. So I'll just put it in just so it's tight enough so nothing drops out. That's the slide. It's got that groove. That groove fits into that little notch there, like that. For it to drop all the way. Next I'll get the pin, find what setting the clip needs to be on. I don't know which set it's set on, but I've got it in the middle clip. I'll have a look at it once the bike's running. Nothing fits in there, just the needle itself like that. Nothing underneath neither. And then when you put the cable in this side, you put it in and you put that bit over there and it locks the cable into the slide, and it keeps the needle pushed in. See, if this wasn't in, that pin will just move up and down as the bike's working. If you ever get a carbu build kit and you're left with a little tiny black O-ring and you're wondering where it goes, goes under there, and that's how the cable goes in. And then you put that metal plate in, it slides in, and it's kept the cable in. There's the metal plate there, see it's sticking through that slit. And that's the carbon now. There's a little square cut out on this black inlet, and there's a square bit on the carb. That square bit pushes into the black bit. So that's that on. I'll just tighten it up. So I've put the airbox on now. I've put the pipe from the airbox to the carb on. See, the airbox is still slack. So I'm going to put the 2 bolts in there and there with the 2 collars, which that's one of the collars, that's the part number there. And these are the bolts. I still need on another couple. Anyway, we'll get them in with them, and then it'll tighten all the airbox up, and then I can get the front on properly. That's the 2 bolts in now with the collars. Just show how tight the airbox is now. So now I can put that boot on the back of the carb, and this still needs tightening because this can move. Just I haven't tightened it yet till I got the airbox and that on. I've lost the bolt for that, but that's keeping that in place for the time being. So we'll get that on, and then we'll tighten that up. So that's the airbox all on. I've tightened that up, so that cannot move now. The clip I had for the back of the carb, it's too small, it wouldn't tighten up, so I'm going to get another one of them, but that's on the carb alright. So now I'll start putting the panels on and put the little spacers and collars I've got down there in the bags, the little Yamaha ones, and then it'll be all done. I've put that new Jubilee clip I was meant to put on. I've nipped a new connector on there. I couldn't get one of these on because the wire's tiny. I couldn't get the rubber over air filters in, so we'll just start getting the panels on and that now. I've got them bolts there. One's to go in there, one's to go in there, one's to go in there. That's got one of them collars in already. You can see it there. But we'll fit this next. That's the rad panel on. With them 3 nuts there. It's all nice and tight now. So next we'll get the side panel on, which is laying about somewhere there. We'll get that on next. So this is the side panels. Got that bolt hole and that bolt hole. You don't take none of them colours. And we've got that bolt hole and that bolt hole on this one. And they're the bolts. 6127 or 6217. If you look on the part diagram, these 2 bolts is listed as number 3, and these 2 bolts are listed as number 7. But they've both got that part number on, so you just need to order that one. Anyway, we'll get this one on first. That's that side panel on now. It wouldn't fit here, so I had to loosen the carb boot again and spin it round that way. Now it all fits. Just have to push that in so that fits. That one on now on the other side. That's that one on now. Just that bolt and that bolt. That's the seat on. I haven't got the proper bolts, but I still had the collars, so I've just put Allen keys in. I put nuts on the back because the threads on the frame aren't good. Same on that side, I've done the same. I've put a nut on. I had to use Allen key because I didn't have the proper bolt. Next, the back brake, then the exhaust, and that Footpegs bent up. I've got some new Footpegs down there to go on. So I've already put that Footpeg on. It just wants a circlip in the bottom. I'm going to put the other one on. And that for the exhaust there, it didn't have one on, it just had a bolt with a washer on. On a DTR, on the radiator, I just thought, oh, I've seen one of them before with a collar. Get that in there, so that's good, saves buying one. If I just said before, I can't remember, put the other Footpeg on there, and then the exhaust on the front pipe. The metal ring goes on first, and then the rubber ring. That's fitted in good.
So I'll put the front pipe on now, and I've just looked. There's the rubber ring going around the exhaust, and on the front you can see like the metal bit. I think that's the metal ring. I'll try and pop it off with a screwdriver. That's the front pipe on now. I just left that washer on the front of the exhaust because it's too late to try and burn off. But the exhaust tight in there. You can see at the top there's a little hole. That fits onto the spring. If you've got some springs somewhere, I just don't know where they are, but it's tightened up there. That one went straight through. That one there. And it's tight anyway, it won't move. Doesn't really need the springs, but I'll get them. What else have I just done? Oh, the back brake pedal's on now. I just need to put the thing in there with a circlip in there, with a split pin in the back, and a split pin in the back of there. That peg's on, if I didn't mention it before, the new one. I think that's everything. I haven't put the petrol pipe on yet, because when I put petrol in, I'm going to drain the petrol straight out the pipe into a jug, just in case there's any dirt in the tank. I should have cleaned it out before I put it all back together, but it doesn't matter. But I think that's everything. Next it'll be just first start. I think I've got a piece of paper somewhere. Yeah, still needs the oil, and the bolts are tightened on this side, so I've still got to get some oil, so I'll just leave that on because I forgot about that there. And I forgot the grips come this morning, so I've put them on. Makes it look much better. I've got the chain thing down there, the new one, and I've got the new clips for the brake hose with the new screws. I don't know whether to put them in because I'll be testing out, but I don't want to get it dirty. I'll test it out when it's dry, so I might put them on as well. Oh, and I need to put it back on the stand and put a bolt through like that because it's missing. But I'll slap on the back axle to do it.